Well, it was very obvious that the intention of the media regulations, which came in a couple of months after June 86 state of emergency was declared, were to hit very particularly at the kind of mobilization that had been mounted in the townships. The kinds of things that were declared subversive statements were statements that concerned campaigns which had been waged by these organizations. People had mounted various forms of boycott as a means of passive or non-violent resistance, and as a form of very real leverage in some cases against the authorities. For instance, there had been boycotts by black pupils of their segregated schools. There had been refusal by many residents to pay rentals. The landlord in almost all black townships is the state. There had been boycotts of white-owned shops by black consumers. And in some cases, these boycotts had actually led officials at a local level into a process of negotiation with the local affiliates of the United Democratic Front. It was very clear to me that the intention was to cut off any messages and any legitimization of this form of resistance. And so these kinds of statements were declared subversive statements. Nobody could make them, and if anybody made them, we certainly could not repeat them, or we would fall into the same trap. The penalty would be a fine of up to 20,000 rand or up to 10 years in jail. And not many people were willing lightly to risk that kind of penalty. So that you found that the whole message became a very biased message. You found that you no longer had a political debate. You no longer had any reason being conveyed across the racial divide for the kinds of actions that people were taking in the townships. And I think the net effect was that you have a greater polarization of society and a greater potential for conflict. Those kinds of limits are enforced to this day, but the rent boycotts persist.